Dum 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 dum. Uh-oh. Hey there! This video is about the Grainfather Sparge Water Heater. I'll give a brief overview of the equipment, and then I'll go through some modifications that I did and how I located the Sparge Water Heater to provide gravity feed of the Sparge water into the grain basket. So first, here's an overview of the Grainfather Sparge Water Heater. So, the Grainfather Sparge Water Heater is an 18-liter, 4.8-gallon water heater with a 304 stainless steel body. The 110 to 120 volt version powers a 1500 watt heating element. It comes with a sight glass that has gradients calibrated in liters. It has a 2-position water dispenser tap, a power on-off switch with a protective cover, a temperature control knob with calibrated temperature gradients in Celsius, and it has status lights which show if the heating element is in the heating or keep warm mode. The Sparge water heater also has insulated plastic handles on the lid and on the sides if you need to remove the lid or lift the unit while it's hot. A couple of things to note. Don't plug the Grainfather Sparge water heater and the Grainfather boiler into the same outlet because it'll trip the circuit breaker. Therefore, I have the Grainfather boiler and the Sparge water heater on separate dedicated circuit breakers. Also, the sight glass gradients are calibrated from the level of the water at the tap. Fill the Sparge water heater using the gradients on the sight glass. If you measure the water before pouring it into the Sparge water heater, you'll be short by about 1.5 liters of water sitting below the input level of the tap. If you use the sight glass to fill the water heater, you won't have to tip the unit to get the rest of the water out. Next, I'll go through the modifications that I did to the Grainfather Sparge water heater. So the first modification I did was to install a Brewpot Thermometer above the temperature control knob. The Brewpot Thermometer that I used has a stainless steel 2-inch stem with a 1/2 inch NPT threaded fitting, a stainless steel washer with a hex nut and a silicone O-ring. The thermometer dial has a 3-inch face with a dual scale Celsius and Fahrenheit gradients. You can pick one up on Amazon for around 16 bucks. To install it, I put a towel inside the Sparge water heater to catch any metal shavings, and then I drilled a 1/2 inch hole using a carbide tip hole saw drill bit. I installed the thermometer with a stainless steel washer, silicone O-ring, and hex nut. Then I removed the towel and thoroughly rinsed out the Sparge water heater. As a result, I can heat my Sparge water to the exact temperature that I want. Next, I'll show you where I located the Grainfather Sparge water heater so I can use a gravity feed to the grain basket. So, I wanted to locate the Grainfather Sparge water heater at a level that will allow me to gravity feed the Sparge water into the grain bed after the grain basket has been lifted up and is in the drain configuration. So, I installed a platform with the heavy-duty angle braces anchored to the wall to accommodate the weight of a full Sparge water heater. I also installed a GFCI electrical outlet directly behind the water heater, and I shortened the power cord on the Grainfather Sparge water heater so I don't have to deal with stowing a long power cord out of the way. Next, I'll go through my solution on filling the Grainfather Sparge water heater with water. Now, because the Sparge water heater is elevated up on a platform, I didn't want to have to fill the Sparge water heater and then lift a heavy water heater up onto the platform. Therefore, I ran a water line over the top of the water heater so I could fill the water heater while it's sitting on the platform. I also installed a shut-off valve to prevent any drips from trapped water in the line after the water shut off. Next, I'll show you how I control the water source to the Grainfather Sparge water heater. So, I control the water flow over here from the control panel. However, there is that possibility that I could get distracted while the water heater's filling up and forget to turn the water off, which would not be good. Therefore, another modification I did to the Grainfather Sparge water heater was drill a hole at the top of the water heater and install an overflow drain just in case. The water heater is connected to the overflow drain pipe via an insert fitting which is not glued. This way, I can remove the water heater, dump the 1.5 liters of water under the tap, and then reinstall the water heater after it's dry. Okay, so next I'll show how I gravity feed sparge water into the Grainfather Grain Basket. First, I installed a piece of clear tubing around the tap outlet and I secured it with a hose clamp. Then I secured the other end of the tube to a 3/8 inch barb with a 90-degree elbow and a male NPT fitting. The removable piece of the gravity feed assembly is a PEX pipe with a female NPT fitting and a couple of 90-degree elbows which allow the PEX pipe to sit on the edge of the grain basket. Now, for added support, I installed a curtain rod bracket which fits nicely around the PEX pipe. Hey, whatever works. On the other end, I installed a 90-degree elbow, a fitting with a 3/8 inch barb, a piece of silicone tube, and a diffuser that you can pick up on Amazon for around $8. To start the gravity feed, I flipped the tab handle to the full open position and observed the amount of sparge water being dispensed using the sight glass on the Sparge Water Heater. Usually, I'll dispense the sparge water in 1 liter increments with several minutes in between. I find that 1 liter is enough to fill the upper perforated plate, but not to exceed the top of the tabs on the plate. Well, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Well, that's my video on the Grainfather Sparge Water Heater. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Cheers.